NFL Vincent Jackson, a very accomplished receiver who played for the Chargers and the Buccaneers, found dead in a Tampa area hotel today, 38 years old. And we decided we needed to get right into it because it's something that just popped up fairly recently. It was a stunner. It was a shock. And Miles, there isn't much more to say out of the gates than, it's just another strange curveball that we have to process as fans of the NFL.
I feel like there's just been such a terrible string of deaths that have affected us in the NFL community lately, whether it's media and you have guys like Terez Praylor who were just burgeoning on the cusp of their careers, and now you have somebody like Vincent Jackson who I remember the entire career of, really, and that's not something that I expect when somebody who is 38 years old and who played so well for so many years in the NFL to suddenly pass away. It's really, really sad, and it's hard. I think as fans of this league and as people who cover this league, it's hard to continue to see just the string of deaths, and it's hard, I think, as a country right now, just what we're all going through, just with so much death all around us. It's hard to kind of be positive about it, but man, you really, really feel for his family and his friends and all of those who loved him.
No indication of any trauma, according to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, confirmed that it is indeed Jackson who passed. I had second round pick in 2005, and just a great player, 3-time Pro Bowler. Had a contract dispute near the end of his time with the Chargers. I remember he was a group of guys who were caught in a strange contractual vice near the end of the 2006 CBA. They thought they were going to be eligible for unrestricted free agency and the franchise tag. They ended up being restricted free agents. They were named plaintiffs in the litigation that was pursued by several of the players when the lockout started March 11, 2011. And Jackson would go on to join the Buccaneers, become a team captain right away. Very influential player, very effective player. We extend our condolences to all of his teammates, his friends, his family. And this is all just very, very raw, very real, and happening literally moments before we came on the air, the news of Vincent Jackson's passing. And it is just a weird time, whether it is to be an NFL fan or just to be a citizen of the world, not just America, but the world. You're right. Death is all around, and it's just confusing. It's confounding, and we try to process it all in real time, make sense of it, and just keep moving while we hold our breath for what's next. You get to a point where you're just wondering what's next, right, Miles? It's like we're so conditioned now to these things that are shocking happening. You're just like you're expecting something else to happen.
Yeah, and it's so concerning because at what point do you start to become desensitized to these types of things where just death as it happens is all around you and bad things seem to keep happening all around you? And you don't want to become desensitized to that kind of thing, I think, at least, because that's what makes us human. The feeling, the emotion that we all get, especially when you hear something like an NFL player that we all knew is a really good player in this league has passed away at the age of 38. I don't think that we should ever forget how that feels and how emotional that is, Mike, because once we do, who knows where we're going to be as a society? I don't know.
And you make a great point, Miles, because as humans, to deal with these things, you almost need to have a hardened shell. You almost need to become desensitized to it. And the ultimate desensitization comes from dealing with the pandemic. You hear the numbers every day of people who die. And I remember when 3,000 was shocking, and now it's only 3,000. I guess that's good news. It could be 4,000 today. And I just think as we migrate through this strange period in our existence and wait for the other side of it to emerge, the challenge is to retain our full humanity without losing our minds in the process, because the ultimate coping mechanism is to just get used to it. You just get used to it and you just keep going. So I think there's a sweet spot there where you do find a way to cope and move on, but at the same time, you pause and you mourn the tragedy of everyone who passes. There's no indication it was anything COVID related with Vincent Jackson. It's just part of this broader hellscape that we're in, where you're right. On one hand, it's shocking. On the other hand, it's like okay, it's 2020 and now 2021, and when is this ever going to end? And will we be so used to it when it does end, we're not even going to notice that it's over?
I hope that doesn't happen. I really do, because, like I said, it's what makes us human, and I don't really know what the right thing to do is. And I think everybody has to go through different processes when it comes to grief, different stages of grief, and that's something that we talked about even before the pandemic started. But I think now, especially where, as we've been saying, like, death is all around us, and how do you really go from one day to the next? And you try not to become desensitized to it, but how do you really go about your day? When you think, my goodness, around this country and around the world right now, so many people are dying because of this virus that has just constrained us for the better part of a year. We are really at 11 months since everything in the world basically shut down, especially in this country. So how we deal with that and how we deal with the loss of different folks from different types of things that are going around in this world, and some things are just really not able to be explained all that well, and I think this is one of them. At least the early indications are for Vincent Jackson. And so, like you said, Mike, we just extend our condolences to all of those who loved him.
And I guess all we can do is what we've tried to do for the last 11 months. Show up every day. Make the most out of every day. Pay attention to your loved ones and your friends and anyone around you in your environment that may be struggling in some way, and help them out any way you can, and just keep going one day, string them together. Don't get caught up in the big picture and just exist, but try to persevere, and just hope that at some point something like whatever was normal before March of 2020 will settle in again at some point down the road.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe.